What is up, guys, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Show with Mike and D. I am Nerdy D, joined by the one and only Milwaukee Mike. Each and every week, we bring you fast-paced hot takes for your listening enjoyment. We will run through a series of topics tonight before finishing the show with an open discussion with you guys, the casual wrestling community. So make sure to drop us a question or comment in the chat. If you want to support the channel, sign up for a Casual Wrestling YouTube membership or support the channel by dropping a super chat, and we will read it out loud at the point that it comes in. Let's start the show, Mike. I want to get some opinions from you. I want to start off with Triple H win on Pat McAfee. And first off, I guess we should address the passing of two people, Pat McAfee's father-in-law and Roman Reigns' father. Thoughts and prayers go out to them before we start. Now we could jump into it.
Let's do it.
I want to get your thoughts on Triple H announcing, he said a lot of stuff. Talked about Indianapolis, talked about a bunch of events going there. Lucky Indianapolis. I don't really care. I don't live there. Those guys get all the cool shit. Cool. Yeah. I want to talk to you more importantly about the thing that was brought up about Netflix and the fact that when Monday Night Raw moves to Netflix, Triple H basically threw in that there will be no need to censor the content of the show. What do you take from that? What does that mean?
I think I don't really buy much into it. I don't necessarily see them going in a direction where they're just going to absolutely just change the operation of stuff that they do, right? I think the things that you've seen on the road to WrestleMania, that's going to be kind of what you see not having to be censored out, right? When the storylines get to a point where there might be some blood or there might be some, curse words that they want to use to kind of emphasize the storyline or what's going on in that individual segment. I think that's kind of more about anybody that thinks like they're going to just completely change ship and they're going back to like the Attitude Era where it's just going to be, no holds barred every week. I don't foresee that to be the case. I've seen some rumors that they're going to change Raw to the 2-hour show and SmackDown's going to go to the 3. I've seen that. It was interesting. He hit on like the commercial aspect as well and how they're trying to kind of piece that together as time goes on. I don't know, man. The thing that really stood out to me in that whole interview about the Netflix in particular is the fact that he said he's going to reach 80% of the world at any given time. That is humongous. That's humongous because you got people that have to sit there and they have to wait till a certain time of the day or night to really tune in and see, or they have to wait till it goes on social media. This is going to really open the door. You already see it with the PLEs moving overseas. But yeah, I think that was the biggest takeaway for me. I think the censorship, I think we all knew that was going to, but hitting 80% of the world, that's big time. So
question for you, the kind of follow up there is, I kind of get the idea that we're moving into a more mature Monday Night Raw because I think we've already started to do it subtly. I was shocked with the whole Liv Morgan stuff last night. Sure. That was very outside of WWE's character to do like the text message and showing it. And like, those are things that aren't real accepted in 2024 to show a picture of something and like to make the comments that they're making, and Liv Morgan's laying into it and WWE's laying into it. And I think it works. I think it's shocking enough that it works, but I actually took away from Triple H kind of that in between fully jumping into a mature Attitude Era, but like you said, we're not going to be afraid to say what we want to say, and we're going to take the chains off and leave the responsibility on the wrestlers to don't go overboard.
Right.
Sell what you've got to sell, but don't go overboard. The Netflix thing is interesting, Mike, because there's a part of me that thinks I don't know that was the original plan. Like, I think we got here and they're excited, but I believe that it was business as usual, and I think Fox dropped the ball. I think Fox wouldn't bite on the amount of money that WWE wanted. I don't know that they originally thought Netflix was the right play, but I think the more you, like you said, the more you think about it, this turns WWE into truly a global product. It is on at the same time for everybody live. Now, let me ask you this, because this is a fear that I have is, does this segment the two shows now? Do you have to keep the two shows separated and not have storylines cross over? Because essentially part of the world will have access to the Monday stuff, but if they're not getting the information that happens on Fridays, can you cross that stuff over? Like, does the Wyatt Six have to stay exclusive to Monday Night Raw, whereas the Bloodline now has to stay exclusive to SmackDown? Do you think that's something that happens?
No, because I believe what I heard Triple H say is that everything from SmackDown, Raw, NXT, PLEs, and documentaries are going to be available on Netflix. So I think that kind of eliminates, because people are going to be able to see SmackDown. Oh,
I think I missed that.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for the network then?
Like Peacock, they're moving out of Peacock.
Oh, so it's okay. So see, I missed all this. They're done with Peacock. So the network is essentially moving to Netflix.
It's gonna be on Netflix. Like,
see, I missed that.
Everything's gonna be there. Yep.
That's very interesting. So that changes everything. Then it's not gonna be segmented.
No.
When I interpreted it as, I was like, oh, they're gonna get this one section. But okay, so this makes everything globally available.
Yep. And it was cool how he kind of broke it down, right? Because he was like, he talked about the original WWE network and how they were kind of the first people besides Netflix to kind of have their own streaming service. And then once the bundling started happening with like the Hulu, Disney, all that stuff, they were like, okay, we need to kind of advance because we're not a tech company.
Interesting.
We're an entertainment. So that's why they went the Peacock route, because Peacock is accessible in certain parts of the world. And now he said, trying to expand more. Netflix touches pretty much everywhere. And that's the main reason why they made this decision to go Netflix.
That's interesting. So then you wonder, how long is it before everything goes live there? If the next SmackDown contract just gets moved, because they're basically taking almost everything out of Universal's hands.
Right. I mean, $5 billion. I mean, I'd assume that the SmackDown at some point is gonna.
That's cool. I learned something today. I guess I was just under the assumption of one thing happening, and I just chose not to listen to what he said. That's cool. I'm glad.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so I want to take the opportunity, Mike. You saw me on stream the other day talking about I was going to do this Thursday, but no time better than the present if it's something that you want to talk about as well. Talk about the Bloodline 2.0 storyline and where it's headed, like how we would book the next 6 months, and where do all of these pieces fit in, because we're accumulating a lot of Samoans. There's a lot of things to keep up with, but SmackDown's interesting. Like it definitely, once they just turned up the volume, and it's loud again on SmackDown. And I think now we start assuming Roman comes back, Jimmy comes back, at some point Jay comes back. That's a lot of Samoans on SmackDown. How do you see this playing out for the next 6 months?
So it's funny because like you watch SmackDown, but then you kind of go and look at other people's breakdowns. I know I specifically listen to like Busted Open, and I stuff like that. A couple things. Bully Ray brought up the fact that when Solo went to hug Jacob did not hug him back.
Okay,
and that was something that we should maybe pay attention to.
Okay.
I also seen a picture online of Jacob in a picture with Roman Reigns recently.
Okay.
So it's starting to make me kind of wonder, is this Solo's thing, or is Roman kind of...
Can I cut you off for a second?
Go ahead.
Because I want to play devil's advocate and ask questions.
Yeah.
How much can we read into shit like that anymore when the Wyatt Six are taking pictures at Whataburger? And I don't mean that in an asshole. Yeah. Like, I think the mentality, right. Like the days of the Undertaker protecting the kayfabe, to me, that's a little bit like Jacob Fatu and Roman taking pictures together. I don't know that they're every time taking a picture assuming this is going to get read on the internet. That's my question to you. Do you think?
Yeah, I got you.
Are we reading too much? Because Triple H in that interview he gave me kind of a, hey man, calm down. Chad Gable's not dead. You guys got to quit overreacting to what you see. So that's my question for you. And I'm the most guilty of it. Are we reading too deep into some of these things?
I don't know, man, because the ending of SmackDown was kind of I pay attention to like the little things, right? When Jacob was throwing up the one with Solo, the Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, they looked kind of skeptical.
They did look like they were sketchy.
They were like, okay, what the hell's going on here? So that makes me wonder, like, okay, did Solo bring in the Tonga twins? Jesus Christ. And has Roman sent? This is where you're gonna have to start trying to piece together who is working with who, right? Because I'm assuming that you're gonna throw the Rock in here at some point, and Roman, and I'm assuming that it's gonna be those two kind of heading both of their kind of individual groups. I mean, that's what we would assume would happen. I would imagine. So yeah, I rumor has it that it's going to be Solo versus Cody in the main event at SummerSlam.
Yes.
Now everybody pump the brakes. Don't freak out. I know that's kind of a weird match. It's there for a reason.
I'm with you. I agree 100%, and I think I know where you're going.
There's going to be a comeback.
Yes.
That night.
Yes.
That's why that's the main event.
It's the babyface turn. It's the turn. Yeah. He helps out Cody, and all of a sudden he shakes Cody's hand. You know, and this begins the saga of the babyface Roman. I believe that's what I believe. I don't know if that's your thought.
No, yeah, I mean, Roman's going to come back as a babyface. Anybody that thinks differently, just kind of throw that. But I think at some point we're going to get a Roman Cody rematch. I mean, I think that has to happen. I don't know. Okay. I don't know when, but I think that has to happen. I think you're going to get a Roman Rock match. That's inevitable. I think you'll maybe get a Roman Solo match, which, I mean, it doesn't move the needle for me, but I think it makes sense in the story. Like, it has to happen with the fact that he's trying to take over the head of the table. Yeah, kind of similar to like when he went against Jay in the Hell in a Cell. You're
on the same path. I'm gonna lay out mine in just a second, but you're on the same line of thinking. I believe 100% there is a Solo Roman match in the future
for sure. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be the original Bloodline versus the newly constructed Bloodline, and that's going to be kind of what we get moving into WrestleMania. I think at WrestleMania we do get Roman versus The Rock. I don't think that The Rock versus Cody is going to be at WrestleMania. I know that's kind of been the rumor. I think that's maybe a Royal Rumble match. And then we get the big one at WrestleMania. You're not going to stretch this 2 more years.
No, I don't.
That's not going to happen.
I think Cody Rock happens post WrestleMania.
Okay. That would make sense as well. But yeah, man, the Samoans, man, they just keep piling. I mean, Jacob's got like 7 kids. I mean, I
know. There's a lot more to come. So here's my thoughts. This is the way I laid out, because I nerded out the other night with Lauren, and I was like, I'm gonna tell you all my fucking ideas of what I think is going on, because I'm so intrigued by this. Here's what I think. So I think, like you said, I think we're inevitably headed to Roman versus Solo. That is where we're headed first. And I think what's going to happen is at SummerSlam, Cody's in trouble. It's the whole bloodline is there. And Roman returns, and he wipes out the bloodline, and he helps Cody. They shake hands, and I think that puts that to bed. I don't think we ever see Roman and Cody in a ring together again. I think I just don't think Roman's ever going to be a title contender. I don't think he needs it. I think there's enough of this Samoan stuff for the next 2 years to keep this story going. What I think is going to happen is I think that Solo's bloodline is going to continue to grow. A couple more people. And Roman's going to come back and basically suffer. They're going to week after week. They're going to punish Roman, and he's going to be the sympathetic babyface. And I think as we get closer, so I think we'll get Roman versus Solo at some point, and it's just going to turn down into the new bloodline beating down Roman. And I think The Rock comes in for the save. I think The Rock is going to align himself with Roman at first. And I think going into Survivor Series, we are going to get the original bloodline of Sami Zayn, Jay, Jimmy, Roman, and The Rock versus these 5 new Samoans. And it's going to come down to Roman Rock, Solo, and Jacob, and The Rock's going to make a turn during that match. And it's going to be then basically explained that The Rock has been in charge the whole time.
Okay.
That's where I see the turn coming. I think it's too black and white for The Rock just to come back as a bad guy. I think The Rock comes back. The Rock's into this whole like misdirection thing now. He's going to come back. He gets the babyface pop for saving Roman, and then that turn, when he turns on Roman at Survivor Series, is going to be big. Where I like your Jacob Fatu thing is, I think that's where the turn happens for Jacob, where he's like, nobody told me what was going on. I wasn't in on this secret. And then you get him flipping over to the OG bloodline, and you have the new version, and they all intertwine all the way through WrestleMania. So you're getting different variations of those matches all the way to WrestleMania.
I think the only things that I would tweak would be, I don't know that you want to have Roman struggle.
Oh, see, I think you have to. I think after being so dominant for so long, I think that there is going to be this and by struggle, I just mean inevitable odds where at first he's getting beat up and then he's got to reach out and go, Jimmy, I need you. And Jimmy comes back and they can't get over the hill. And then they go get Jay and they go, Jay, we need you. And they can't get over the hill. And then there's that huge moment. It happens in Canada where the three of them approach Sami Zayn and they go, Oos, we need you.
See, that's where I'm like, I don't like the idea of bringing Sami back into this.
You have to, though, Mike. You have to, because of the way the reaction you're going to get when that entire OG bloodline comes out for the first time as baby faces is going to be insane. I understand where you're coming from, but he's a part of this story. And at some point, we've got to believe Sami drops the IC title soon, right? To who it's Ludwig's in the picture, Sheamus is in the picture. It's probably Braun Breaker that he drops it to, right? And so then you've got to figure out what Sami does, because he's not going to be in the world title picture. So he's floating around. We assume Jey Uso's probably not going to be in the world title picture at that point later on in the year. I really do believe, Mike, that the nostalgia play here is to bring them back together.
If Solo's bloodline grows one more member, I could see that.
Okay.
If it stays at 4, I think it's Roman, Usos, and The Rock.
But isn't there already this other cat that texts, I'll see you soon?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
They just keep coming, Mike. They're multiplying, man.
Fuck, man. This is crazy. I mean, man.
I look at it from optics.
Like mix both are like.
Yeah, no. A lot of what you said, I think is exactly right. I just think I tend to try to look at it from optics, right? The T-shirts and shit like that. When that OG bloodline comes back together and we're feeling oozy again, and now we're baby faces, and Survivor Series is Roman, Rock, Sami, Jay, and Jimmy all together, and the Rock turns on, maybe he turns on Sami, maybe he turns on Roman, whoever he turns on. But I think that moment, the optic is, oh shit, that now it's war.
Okay.
And then that all leads into the next, what do you have, like 5 or 6 months after that to build towards the ultimate Roman versus The Rock to become the head of the table. Now, once that's over, I don't know what the hell you do with all these Samoans.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I guess we'll see when we get there. I mean, I don't.
Are they on are they contract labor and they understand that at some point there's a lot of you guys?
Yeah, because you would think like that's kind of like the book closing, and then maybe Roman might be Roman then kind of crown somebody.
Yeah, that feels like
next.
That feels to me like what could happen. I mean, but there's also the world where The Rock beats Roman at WrestleMania, and that's what goes on to be Cody versus The Rock, and The Rock just sets himself up for the next 365 days to be important.
Man,
The Rock feels like the kind of guy who would do that shit.
Listen, man, that road to WrestleMania sign me up, man. I mean, that shit was that was exciting as hell, man. I would do that 9 times out of 10, 100%.
All right, so let's move on here. I want to get your thoughts on the second showing of the Wyatt Six. We kind of got the second taste of them last night. I thought on SmackDown, a little bit of a missed opportunity. I like the mentioning of the extra security, but I need to feel like everybody's looking over their shoulder on SmackDown. And I didn't like that it was almost just kind of like, hey, there was a massacre on Monday and we got a couple extra people here. Like, all right, that's okay. But I want to get your taste. We saw more of the Wyatt Six after, I kind of predicted we weren't going to see them at all for a couple weeks. We immediately get a second dose. What are your thoughts? Did it live up to the original hype of last Monday for you?
I mean, you're not going to top last Monday. I mean, that last Monday was, you got to kind of put that in its own box, right? Yeah. Because moving forward, it's going to be a completely different situation. Now, I think for me, I enjoyed what happened last night. The reason I say it is because they added a little bit of realism to it, right? With the video package.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't think that was Bo Dallas. I think they're gonna swerve us. I think they want us to think that's Bo Dallas. I think he's gonna come out as Taylor Rotunda.
Okay.
That like he's gonna be him actual self in the story. And I think you're gonna see that as well with the other members of the Wyatt Six too. As long as they don't end up bringing in the supernatural stuff, I'm completely good with what's happening, right? Like the Nikki Cross situation where she crawled into the ring, that's kind of like a realism kind of like, that's not like, sure, it's kind of like a horror movie kind of almost situation, but I think this is all going to start making sense as time goes on. I think it's kind of foolish to kind of want all the answers right away. Like anybody that thought their music's gonna hit, they have a Tron, they all come walk into the ring and they start talking and explaining why we're who we are. I think that you're jumping the gun a little bit. This is going to be layered and kind of stretched out, right? A theory that I heard that I liked on the radio this morning was when the wrestling does start coming into the picture, why not just strip them of the actual character and put the real, like, Nikki Cross no longer has the costume on. She is Nikki Cross in the like
that works.
And she's got kind of that Sister Abigail or whatever her name is. We're going to have to find out at some point. But yeah, man, it's just all the people kind of overreacting and saying like, "Oh, I don't like the spooky shit." Like, there's nothing like the Chad Gable situation. I can agree with most people, right? Like, how do we go from a massacre in the back to he's wrestling? I get that. But I also feel like at some point they're going to make it make sense, right? Because I feel like that's kind of where the story is right now with Chad Gable. And I think, to go to how what you mentioned, is this going to go to SmackDown? I think as they kind of get their victims, or I guess, I don't know if the victim is the right word. Focus, I guess, would be the better word. They're going to kind of move with whatever show that person is on. But yeah, man, I for me, I've enjoyed what's happened so far. It's 2 weeks in. It's, this thing is going to stretch out. I've seen people say like, hey, why not stretch this and have their first match be at next WrestleMania? I wouldn't go that far. But
so I'm with you on everything. I think everything you said is exactly right. The only problem I had last night was I thought I have no problem with Nikki Cross crawling into the ring. Thought that, to me, like you said, that's realism. Nothing has reached supernatural. And I think that Bo Dallas, Taylor Rotunda, whatever we want to call him, I'm with you. I think I like calling him Taylor Rotunda. I think that segment said it in realism, right?
Right.
You forgot us. Yep. That this isn't us being spooky. You forgot who you just acted like we weren't gonna do and finish what Bray started. So I like all that. The only problem I had, I think, was the Nikki Cross stuff just looked hokey to me.
Okay.
The lights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If they are going to be supernatural, I don't need strobe lights and smoke. I would have liked just for her to crawl into the ring regular. Just lights on. Just what the hell is this girl doing? I want them to acknowledge, like, she's always been kind of weird, but this is getting weirder. I like your ideas. I'm with you. I'm sold 100% on, I know a lot of people are like, what happens when they wrestle? You sold me on the idea. What happens is they take the costumes off.
Yeah.
Like the costumes are just, I'm starting to get the feeling this is homage. This is a celebration of Bray Wyatt as far as they're concerned. And they're just batshit crazy people.
Yeah.
And so there is no supernatural. They don't need, I think one thing that happened for me is I think that they oversold it last week, and not on purpose. I think it was just they did too good of a job, right? We thought everybody was dead, and they probably went, oh shit, we went that makeup too far. Everybody's bleeding too far. We thought this was going to read as Chad Gable got beat up. Right. Everybody read this as he got shot. I don't think it was ever meant to feel like that. So I'm with you on all that stuff. My takeaway is that they were definitely grounded this week. They were given the elements that they needed to take the argument out that like it's spooky shit. What are we going to see in the next couple weeks? Well, we're going to see exactly what I'm going to call him Bo Dallas for the sake of this, but what he laid out for everybody.
Yeah.
Is that you forgot. You guys forgot, and here we are, and this is what's about to happen. So I'm with you. At first there was a part of me that was like, I don't know how you tell this story without it getting a little bit spooky, right?
Sure.
But right. Now it's like the mask and things like that seem more like symbolism than actual identities, like you said. I don't think it's not like Rambling Rabbit or whatever his name is. It is Dexter Loomis, who has been told, like, they forgot us. We were going to follow Bray, and now we're going to follow. So I'm with you. I like all that. I like your interpretation of that.
For sure.
Let's finish off the show, Mike. I want to get your opinion on this, on the casual wrestling scale, because it's something I'm trying to use lately, and I can run you through it again if you need to know. 1 through 10, you pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to rate for me, because we've been tough on her. The performance of Liv Morgan, just the last couple weeks, and I want you to give me a score that you would give to the Judgment Day up until this point.
I think overall, as a package, I'd have to go like an 8, like a 7.5, 8. Like, I think what they're doing is they're leaning in to what Liv Morgan is popular for, right? Her looks and her popularity, and how do we kind of milk this to kind of keep her interesting and find her storylines to keep her title run interesting as well, right? Because obviously we seen the battle between her and Rhea Ripley. That was inevitable. Yeah. Obviously the injury kind of derails things a little bit, but that's going to happen at some point. So how do we make it to where now when we get there, there's going to be a lot invested into it. Like, this is going to be a big deal. And what they're doing is making it a big deal. Yeah. They're bleeding into the people that find her attractive and maybe finding jealousy with Dom and Dom playing hard to get, like, everything that they're kind of laying out for us and they've kind of showed us, it's all making sense. You know, she's trying to weasel her way into the bloodline, Jesus Christ, into the Judgment Day. And when that happens, this is going to get even more interesting. So yeah, I think as a whole, I think I give it about an 8. I'm interested to see what happens with Damian Priest though and Finn, because that is a dynamic that I think is going to turn fairly soon here. And I think what's happening is Liv wants us to think it's Dom. I think she's working with Finn, and Finn's pulling the strings. And Finn knows, hey, Dom's easy. He'll give in to temptation. We'll get him, and I'll take over this Judgment Day. And then when Damian Priest gets, angry or upset, that's when I think that's what's happening here, right? I think it's going to be something where Finn takes over, maybe Rhea and Damian do something with. I don't want to go too far, but I think that's where we're headed.
I'm with you. I think you're exactly right. I don't think it's a full-fledged. I don't think we get the same civil war that we get on the Bloodline side, but there will be that ultimate moment where people have to kind of choose sides. And I think that the sides are going to be, like you said, a new version of the Judgment Day, which consists of Finn, Liv, JD, and then I think what happens on the other side is they just all go their separate ways. Damian goes his way, Rhea goes her way, and Dom goes his way.
I want to hit on something you talked on your earlier show about Damian Priest. Mm-hmm. Listen, man. This is maybe a too quick prediction. I think Finn's going to win Money in the Bank, and I think he's going to cash in on Damian and win. Interesting.
Immediately?
I think that night.
So then that leads to Finn versus Gunther at SummerSlam?
That would be that would have to be the direction, obviously.
Interesting. I'm not against any of that.
Or it could be a situation where Finn wins Money in the Bank, cashes in at SummerSlam. I can see that as well.
I like that. Idea. Even to protect Gunther, you could have him cost Gunther the match and then cash in. And then Finn seems like a good candidate, because now I feel like you protect Damian a little bit, and Finn would be good to transition to Gunther later on. I like that. I do like that.
And I think Finn plays a good heel. So
definitely plays a good heel. I think so. To kind of go back on and talk about what you were talking about is, we as fans constantly sit and bitch about long-term booking and investing in stories and things like that. And that's what Triple H has done. Like Liv Morgan's hijacking the title. Not really. He's just put the title into a storyline, and we can overreact and say she's not defending. But like, who do you really want her defending against right now? Every time Zelina Vega comes out, I'm kind of like, let's not do this. Let's just keep telling the Dom shit. That's more interesting.
Yeah.
There's not a lot. What you said is exactly right. They're investing in that blow off moment with Rhea Ripley. And we are all getting involved because I'm finding myself going, Liv is a little more likable. She plays this character well. The whole complaint was, can she talk? Well, she doesn't have to, because now she's acting, and she's no longer talking. She's acting. And acting seems to be where she belongs. Playing this character, this kind of AJ Lee is what I equated to. Okay. It's been absolutely perfect of the Dom, but then like you said, the elements of the Finn, and I'm with you on the Finn thing, except sometimes I feel like they're teasing that so much that it's like oh shit, which is the real, what's really happening? He stole the key card. Pat McAfee points it out. Damian Priest finds him, finds Finn in the room. All that stuff to me is almost like, are they trying to get us to look this direction and go the other? But I'm with you. 8 out of 10 for Liv Morgan, which I never, if you'd have asked me 3 or 4 weeks ago, I'd have told you no way that this was going to fall flat.
Right. Yeah,
and now we're headed towards, I saw something about Rhea Ripley coming back sooner rather than later, because this is heating up so fast that even if she's not ready to wrestle, they think that there's a moment to bring her back and just invest her into the storyline. It's going to get fun. The Judgment Day, they were almost dead on arrival after WrestleMania, and they just keep finding resurgence to become relevant and to get talked about. I think you're spot on. I think Liv Morgan, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough will break away. I don't even know if they're the Judgment Day anymore, or if they're just, kind of hanging out together. Yeah. And I think Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and I think Dominic's going to go off on his own.
The only problem that I have is that I think Liv versus Rhea is a big 3 or 4 pay-per-view kind of match, and SummerSlam is right around the corner. Can you stretch this to Royal Rumble or WrestleMania? I don't know.
Do you think that's the mentality, though? Because here's what I would say if I was Triple H. I've got all of those big matches for the big premium live events. Is this something, like you said, because it is big, but shit, can we put this on the ones that need? Can this carry us through the next 3? I
mean, obviously a match like that would carry you, yeah. But
because you got to think, right? What do we have? We have Germany. We know that's Gunther's night. Right. So then we have what's really left? We have Crown Jewel. There'll be Survivor Series. There's probably one more in between there. But like Survivor Series, we assume something's happening with the bloodline. So I think I pull the trigger on it and let it carry Monday Night Raws and some of the smaller premium live events. I think I do. I don't think I wait, because I think you run the risk, if you wait, of what they did to the Usos.
Yeah.
There was that moment in time where the Uso brothers match would have been fire, and then it gets put as a time filler on WrestleMania, which I think did no justice.
I'm with you on that.
All right, Mike, let's look at what's going on here in the chat. Wavy D said Solo, Tonga Bros, and Jacob versus Roman, Usos, and Zilla at Survivor Series. Who's Zilla? Is this the new one they're teasing?
That's the one that with the tweet or whatever.
Okay, that's the one that tweeted. Yeah, I mean, this is the issue, right? There's so many different. You choose your 4, draft your 4, and that's where we're going to go. I don't know where everybody's allegiance falls.
That's the hard part right now.
I got to re-pull out the family tree and look who goes on what side and where. As long as no lightning falls from the sky and there's no caskets on fire, we're good. That's Wavy D saying that.
I'm with you on that.
Awesome Adam sent us a super chat, just saying what's up. Wavy D says he was just hit upside the head real fast. He wasn't offed. That was the IWC overreacting. Oh, okay. So this is in return to Gable. Okay. Basically saying, he was just hit upside the head. He wasn't off. That was IWC. I'll take blame for that. I was one of the biggest proponents screaming that he was dead. So I will take blame for that. But he said, I've seen Mick Foley take 10 chair shots and have a match the next night. I agree, Wavy D. My only argument is like today's product seems to be grounded just a little bit more in reality than like the Attitude Era. You could get hit, 15 times and wrestle the next week. Wavy D says, do we get Rhea Ripley returned at Money in the Bank or the Raw after? What do you think?
Oh, man. It depends on like how they script the match, right? Like if it's one of those situations where like there's something that happens after the match, I could see it where Rhea pops back up. Now it's just more so is she cleared to wrestle. Because if she returns and at Money in the Bank, it would have to be to attack Liv. And is she clear to do something like that? I don't know.
Was Zelina and Liv, is that an official thing yet? I don't remember.
It's going to be official. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it'll happen. Yeah.
Okay. So that would be where that happened. That might make sense because I don't know what the thought process maybe other than just stopping people from saying Liv doesn't defend the title. I don't know what the real big motivation between, because I don't think it moves any needles. Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega.
Don't get me started, man. Don't get me started.
But then again, I don't think that like I think that the women's tag team division, we can talk about this next week, is in complete shambles again. Because
oh my god,
it's like all right, we're just back to this again. Why did we?
They gotta get that mid card. They got to get a mid-card, man. They got to get a mid-card.
Next week, I think we'll talk about some predictions leading into Money in the Bank, but I just want to go on record. I don't want Jade Cargill to win Money in the Bank. I don't think she's ready.
Yeah. Does she make it?
So Tiffany Stratton's in that match, and I'm hoping that
Tiffany?
I don't think so, but it scares me because do you do a Money in the Bank without Bianca and without Jade Cargill? What do you do with them then? Maybe give them a tag team rematch at that point?
I could see that.
I just feel like you can't keep leaving them off cards.
I can see that. I can see a situation like that. Yeah.
All right, so last thing here from Wavy D is he says, from what he's gathered, Buddy Murphy and Rhea Ripley are getting married and honeymooning right now. Buddy got written and injured off of AEW TV. At least that's what the dirt sheet say. So is that then being under the assumption that she's ready to go? And she's just getting married?
That could be. That would make sense. That would make sense. That makes sense, yeah.
All right, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Money in the Bank?
Oh, we didn't talk about that, did we?
No.
I had it written down the first thing we should have talked about. Shit, I'm bad about that. All right, so we are going to do an official Money in the Bank watch along that is July 6th of 2024. I believe it's a normal timed premium live event. So I think we'll go live about 15 minutes before to say what's up, give a couple last minute thoughts and predictions. It's like a pre-show. And then we'll be here to watch to watch it through its entirety with you guys.
Yeah.
And we'll promote it more. What's up?
It should be good. It should be a PLE.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this one.
They've set it up to where it feels important.
I like, I said this earlier, I like the way the Money in the Bank matches are coming together. They're not, in the past, it's always felt like just 6 superstars. Yeah. And it's starting to feel like guys who really could benefit from holding a briefcase.
I like the triple threat aspect as well, because usually it's like one-on-one.
I do too. I've liked that.
Do you think they're going to have a second chance for the last spots in each match? Like the losers of each triple threat match go in and, because they've done that in the past.
I like that idea because at a certain point, I think you run out because how many people are in Money in the Bank? 6, 7?
I think it's 6, yeah.
6 times 3, so you got to use 18 superstars to qualify. It feels like maybe the last ones would be a second chance.
Maybe that's how a Jade or a Bianca get in.
True. That actually makes sense. I actually like that.
Yeah.
This has been another episode of the Casual Wrestling Podcast with Mike and D. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can join the Discord, follow us on social media, or join the Casual Wrestling YouTube membership. Yeah, we will do a live watch along of Money in the Bank, and we will be back next week to give our predictions. Other than that, we are out of here, guys.